Okay, maybe you can't get outside at the moment, and I know that is frustrating. However, there's still a lot we can do for our running fitness, and I've got a selection of exercises that are going to help with maintaining some of that fitness and maybe even improving your conditioning. So get ready to get your heart rate up and your muscles working, because today I've got a basic running session. So we're going to start with a warm-up, following it up with some drills before the main set, and then finishing off with a cool down. And you've got two options here. You can either join along now as I go, and I'm going to be demonstrating each exercise, and then you might want to pause whilst you complete the full exercise, or you can sit back, relax and watch it in your own time, and then come back and do the full exercises when you're ready. But all you need is some sort of space, whatever you've got available to you, whether that's outside or inside, maybe it's even a bedroom. We've got to improvise at these times so we can do it all together. All right, this is just the warm-up, so I'm going to ease you guys into it nice and gradually, because if you're anything like me, you've probably been sat still indoors for quite a long time, so it's important to get the full body moving. And yes, I know running is predominantly your legs, but you still very much need your whole body. So we're going to start off with some skipping. I've actually got a skipping rope here, but if you haven't, then don't worry, you can still do a skipping action without a rope, and you can sometimes even replicate with your arms. It does help a little bit. So no laughing at my skipping skills here. But simply, if you've got enough room, just start with a nice 2 minutes of steady skipping. You can feel brave and practice your technique a little bit, but I'm going to keep it nice and simple for now. So if you don't have a rope, then you can simply just keep skipping, whether you want to use your hands or not. But the idea is to have a nice light touch with your feet, nice and springy with a slight bend in your knees, just to get that heart rate up. Right now, an extension from skipping is simply hopping. And this is going to be nice and light on your feet, just like you were with your skips. I want you to do 10 on one side and then simply swap and repeat with 10 on the other side. If you're feeling brave, then why not add in a skipping rope? I'm not going to do that on camera right now, but 10 on each side until you've done a whole minute of hopping. All right, your full body should be feeling pretty warm now, so it's time to actually get some mobility into our bodies. And for this one, it's a bit of an all-in-one exercise. So you need a little bit of space out in front of you, and you're going to walk out into a downward dog position, then into a plank. And from that plank, I just want you to do 2 press-ups just to get the chest warm. And from there, you're going to bring one leg outside of that front leg. So I'm going to demonstrate this as I go. Let's see how we get on here. So simply nice bending your knees, walk your hands out into downward dog, and then on into the plank position. Once you're settled in your plank, you're going to simply take 2 press-ups. And from here, you're going to bring one leg, so your right leg in this example, to the outside of this right hand. And now this is when we get some thoracic twisting. So you're going to rotate up to the sky, bring your elbow down to the ground, up to the sky, down to the ground. And I want you to repeat this exact movement 5 times. And once you've done 5, you're going to return to the plank position, 2 more press-ups, and then you're going to repeat on the other side. And once you've repeated the other side, you're then going to gradually walk your feet in, come down to a squat position, and from here, you're going to do 10 full body squats. So arms out in front of you, squatting down, making sure you're getting the full body work here. So 10 of those. And once you've done that whole sequence right the way through, so 5 rotations, 2 press-ups, 5 rotations, 2 press-ups, 10 squats, repeat the whole thing through once more. And now we're ready for the final part of the warm-up. Okay, for this bit, you want to make the most of the space you've got available, and it's really simple. We are going to jog around the room. So you want to go to all 4 corners of the space that you've got, making sure you do diagonals, you go forwards, backwards, round. You're just basically trying to get your body as warm and moving as much as you can and speed it up as you go. All right, on to drills now. And just because you're not going to be heading outside and running really hard on a track or doing a really key run session doesn't mean you can forget drills. And it's actually a perfect time to work on some of those conditioning aspects and maybe some weaknesses in your normal running gait. So I've got a bit of a selection which we're going to go through today. So this first one is kind of a bit of a combination of a yoga pose mixed in with a running drill. So I'm going to demonstrate from side on to start with, and you're simply going to start with your weight. In this situation, we're going to do weight on your right leg, on my right leg. You have a very soft bend in that knee, and you're going to be pivoting through your hips. So this is all about engaging your core, some coordination as well, and working on the drive of the running phase. So from here, you're going to tilt at the hips, making sure that you've got a nice straight line with your body through to your leg, the lifting leg here. And the arm is also going out on the same side. And from here, you're then going to pull that leg through, drive up into an A-frame shape. So here you should have a nice A-frame with a right angle at your hip, at your knee, and at your ankle. The opposite arm driving as you would in a running drive. And then from here, you're going to simply extend back. So the arm comes through into the arabesque pose here, and then back through, drive forwards. Okay, you're going to repeat that 5 times on one leg, and you'll really find the stabilizing leg doing a lot of work, as well as your brain having to concentrate a lot. Once you've done 5, simply swap over and do it on the other leg. And if you're feeling ready for it, try to repeat the whole lot twice through. But these drills are very much up to your interpretation as to how much you want to do. Right, next we're going to take that A-frame shape into something a little bit more explosive. So if you can find some sort of step or a chair, if you're using a chair there, just make sure it's nice and secure. And you are simply going to, whatever height it is you've got, you're going to be simply stepping up onto that and driving through. So if I'm using my right leg here, I'm going to step up and drive through. Step up and drive through. So you're trying to make this much more dynamic, faster movement. Okay, so the idea of that, you want to do 10 on each leg and swap over, and you really want to think about trying to explode with lots of energy, making it a nice, fast, quick movement. Okay, again, this one depends on what space you've got available. Ideally, it's walking lunges with a hold, but I don't have enough space here, and I expect you probably don't at home, so I've adapted it. So for this, we're going to simply be doing one lunge at a time on one leg, but instead of having the hold when walking, it's going to be a pause before the lunge. So come up into that A-frame shape that we had earlier, so you've got the control in the core, and you've got that glute firing on the standing leg. And from here, you're going to lunge down with the opposite arm as though you're doing the run drive, but instead of having to then step forwards, if you've got space, you'd walk on. But in this situation, I'm just going to come back to the starting position and then come back into the hold for the other leg. Make sure you've got control. Lunge down, dropping that back knee towards the ground, and then back up. Repeat this. You want to do a total of 5 on each leg. So if you are walking out, that would be a total of 10 steps. Here, it's obviously a total of 10 lunges. Really making sure you remain controlled throughout the full movement. And now it is the final drill that I've chosen today. And this one is quite tricky to do on the spot. It's quite tricky to do moving as well, but it's all about getting a really short contact time on the ground. So it's toe taps with pretty much straight legs. You're gonna have a very slight bend in the knee, obviously, to absorb the impact. I'm gonna try and show this as I go. So you're gonna be doing the run action like you would normally, so using your arms to help pump, and you're gonna be landing on your toes and your midfoot and your forefoot of your foot. I don't wanna see any heel strikes. So from here, you are taking your feet out in front of you, but only the mid and the forefoot is touching the ground. So your knees are almost straight, and I want you to then try and make it as fast as you can, and you'll hear that sound. I want it to be a really light, quick sound on the ground. The faster, the quicker, the lighter, the better. And try to do that for 30 seconds as fast as you can. You can see I'm out of breath already. Take a rest and then repeat that another 30 seconds through. All right, things are about to get a little bit heated because we are ready for the main set. And this is where you're really gonna have to start to work. And after all, we are trying to replicate the main set of a run session. And you know how hard that feels at the time, but how good it feels afterwards. So the plan is to spend 30 seconds on each exercise as hard as you can and take a minimal rest between each. So we want to replicate a block of running. So just whatever time it takes for you to transfer from one exercise to the next. We're gonna go the whole way through. We've got 9 exercises exercises in total, and then I'm going to leave it up to you to how many you do, but I would aim to go through the whole lot 3 times. All right, we are going straight in with these exercises with some nice plyometric leaps to really get everything firing and that explosive part of the running gait focused on. So it's really nice and simple. You need a space that's wide enough for you to jump from one side to the other. If you've got lots of room, you can continually jump, but you're basically going to be leaping with both feet, trying to get as much height and as much length as you can on every jump, using your arms to drive, and you'll be pushing off, using those glutes to push you forward. So one leap, in this situation I'm going to need to turn around and leap back in the other direction. All right, now on to a really nice simple exercise that I'm sure you're all not going to like me for. It is high knees. I don't particularly enjoy this one either, but it is a great way to replicate running when you have zero space, because it is exactly on the spot. So let's get it going. All right, now here you want to be trying to get your knees up to 90 degrees. So you can use your arms to help pump. Think about getting your ankles up high as well, short contact time, and keeping it really fast. If you want to challenge yourself, you can put your hands out in front, try and get your knees to be tapping up to that. But this is a real high energy, fast 30-second burst of simple high knees, nice high posture, keep your eye gaze ahead of you and your shoulders nice and upright. We've worked the front of the body, now we need to work the back of the body. So the glutes, and it's nice and simple with some heel flicks. For these, I like to put your hands on your bottom so that you've got that added proprioception, so you can try and kick your hands one at a time. And this is going to be firing up those hamstrings and your glutes, and it's the same rules here. So you want to have nice, wide open shoulders, eye line straight in front, keeping your hips parallel as well, and trying to keep your whole body nice and tall with a really short contact time with your feet. All right, speed skaters, these are brilliant for activating the glutes, testing your coordination a little bit, and really focusing on power as a very explosive style of movements. So you're going to be leaping onto one leg in a lateral movement, so off to the side, and then you'll be driving off that leg, pushing across and landing on the opposite leg. You're going to need to coordinate your arms to get this drive and coordinate that other leg that isn't on the ground to help with the driving motion. So I'm going to try and demonstrate this for you. So you're going to start by leaping to my right. So I'm going to land on my right foot, and you'll see my left arm is helping to balance here, and my left foot is out behind me. Now from here, I'm going to drive across with the right down, landing on my left foot with my right behind. I'm being kind with this next one as it's a slightly less intense exercise, but does still require a little bit of coordination and therefore some thought. And you want to imagine that your right arm is connected to your left leg across the diagonal and vice versa on this side. And you're going to take a slight lean forwards. Might look a little bit silly. You're going to have straight arms, straight legs, and you're basically going to be running on the spot with that lean, forward lean in a nice straight. Imagine you're back at play school. Have a bit of a laugh with this one, but try and keep it nice and fast. It's time to up that intensity again, and for this you do need to find a wall. You're going to simply place your hands up against the wall, and you want a slight lean in your body, but still a straight line going through your ears, your shoulders, your hips, all the way down to your legs. And you are going to be doing knee drives, so it's as though you're trying to push that wall away from you, but trying to get your knees up nice and high as though they're coming up towards your chest. A really explosive movement, so you're only landing on your forefoot and your midfoot of your feet, and you're basically again running on the spot, but this time you're driving forwards more than you're driving up. So if you can find a wall near you, place your hands, start off at around shoulder height, but you can experiment with that and see what's comfortable for you, and then start in a nice straight line. So if you can, check that you've got that everything in line, and from here you're going to drive your knees upwards and forwards. We're getting there now. We've got 3 exercises to go, so stick with me. These last 3 are pretty high intensity, I'm not going to deny it. And this one especially, so it gets the full body working. So we've got high skips. We obviously did skipping earlier, but this time it's very much one leg than the other. And the target here is to get as much height as you can on each skip, because obviously it's going to be on the spots. And if you can add in arms, if you've got room above you, if you don't have a low ceiling, then I want you to be stretching up with the opposite hand to the opposite knee on each skip. So you'll be driving up as high as you can. Again, this nice A-frame shape with that lifted leg. Bring it back and then hop onto the other as high as you can. Really thinking of height for each one. So here we go. This is a very hard one to do and very hard to demonstrate. sticking with the explosiveness, the power and the single leg drive here, similar to those high skips. So we really are going to be doubling up the work in your glutes and your quads and your full leg muscles, plus the heart for this one, because it's step ups with a little extra. So remember the step ups we did earlier as the drills? This time, as well as the energetic drive through, when you reach the top of that step, I want you to actually add in a little hop. So as you step onto the step, imagine I'm stepping onto the step now, you're going to hop up and then lower yourself back down, swap onto the other leg and then hop up. So it's a really explosive step and drive, step and drive. So you want to, again, try and get as much height as you can while still keeping that really good form and keeping it nice and fast. All right, we've got this. This is the final exercise of the first time through, I have to admit, and it's working on our hip flexors. So find your step again or a chair in front of you, anything that's between hip and knee height, and you're simply going to tap your toes onto it one at a time, nice and lightly. So imagine I had a chair in front of me. I would simply be tapping away like so, and if you can try to get a nice rhythm. So it's not quite high knees, this is more tapping out in front of you. It's a slightly different action, but I don't want to see anyone cheating. Make sure you still keep your shoulders and your torso nice and upright. No leaning back, because that will make it a little bit easier, and we're here to work hard. So just think about keeping yourself light on your feet that you're landing on, but also light on tapping your toes, using your arms to drive and keeping it nice and fast for this final 30 seconds. Made it through. That is 9 exercises complete, so 4.5 minutes in total of hard work, and now I'm going to leave it up to you guys. I'd recommend doing it at least once more through, twice if you can, because then that is just shy of a 15-minute session, but the ball is in your court, and I'm now going to move on to the warm down. So whether you've just been watching this at home or you've been doing it with me, we really do need to have a solid warm down. So for this first part, it's going to be stretching both the front and the backs of the legs, but we're keeping this warm down fairly mobile because we still want to keep the blood flowing and don't want to let it all just drop to the ankles. So you're going to take a nice forward lunge like we did earlier and just drop into that, so you start to feel the stretch down the front of those hip flexors, and hold that for a few seconds just until you really feel the stretch. We'll go into deeper stretches later on, and then once you've been there long enough, then you simply tilt back, and I want you to then straighten out the front leg so you start to feel a stretch down that right hamstring, and you're just simply going to alternate nice and gently between the two. So feeling stretch at the front on one side, rotate, so you then straighten that front leg and you feel the stretch down the back of that one. Take your time on this, and obviously make sure you swap over and you do both sides, and hold a little bit longer in one area if you feel that it needs it. This is very much an individual moment when it comes to the warm down and the stretching part. I think I've mentioned glutes enough throughout this video to know that we need to stretch them off a little bit. So for this one, you're simply going to take your weight onto one leg, lift up the other, and then you're going to place it just above your ankle across that knee. So forming a triangle style shape. And then you're going to keep your hips facing forwards, and you're just going to drop back into this. So just as though you're sitting into a chair on a single leg. You should already start to feel the stretch around that glute. If you want to deepen that stretch, you can simply lower further down into that single leg squat. You can even reach your arms out in front. You'll find that that really does add that extra bit. And if you're struggling in this position to balance, or you're not quite getting the stretch, then if you hold on to something in front of you, you can lean into that stretch a little bit more, and you'll find that it really does help to get the area. Alternatively, you could actually do the same position on the floor, so you're lying on your back and you want to then just hug this leg in nice and close to you and push that one away to get the stretch that way. There are different variations. Just work out where it is for you to get that really feeling of stretching across that glute. And remember, obviously, to swap onto the other side. And preferably, I would still do this standing up, because we are still trying to make it fairly dynamic and keep the blood flowing before we get too cold after such a hard workout. So you can swap side to side, just holding it for a few seconds at a time, or you can really sit into a deeper stretch for longer, whatever it is you would prefer. And talking of keeping things moving, this next stretch was a bit more of mobility, so we're going to actually focus on stretching more of the upper body. So I just want you to have a gentle jog on the spot, just to keep that blood flowing and your heart rate not dropping too low, and obviously keeping you warm. From here, stretch your arms up above your head, and then you're simply going to get hold of the opposite wrist with the opposite hand and just try and stretch up towards the sky, slightly past your midline. So you should start to feel a stretch down the side of your body. And then swap over, hold on to the other wrist, and stretch in the other direction. If you don't want to be jogging, you could simply be walking on the spot, anything that's keeping your legs moving whilst you can focus on stretching side to side. Let's finish up by stretching the insides of our legs. We've done the outsides with our glutes, we've done our quads, our hamstrings, so it just is the groin that remains. So take a nice wide stance, wider than your hips, and from here, I want you to bend one of your legs and take your weight over to that side. So you're dropping over that knee, and you really should feel the stretch on the opposite side of the groin, and then move to the other side. So you can make it nice and flowing from one side to the other. If you want to add in dropping your head down to the ground to make that stretch a little bit deeper. Again, just play around with what works for you. You can even twist so that you're going to be stretching your hamstrings a bit more if you want to lift your toes up. This is a nice kind of flowing stretch just to finish off with. And I've covered a few here, just a selection, and they're all quite flowing stretches. But if you do want to hold one of them or go into a stretch that you know is more specific to you or something that you need to work on after doing this exercise, because after all, we have just done the equivalent of a high intensity run session, and try to add in some foam rolling on any sore bits or any areas that you might find need to relieve that tension, especially if you're spending a lot of time indoors and sitting down at the moment. Well, hopefully you've enjoyed it, whether you've enjoyed watching it or enjoyed actually taking part. Do let me know, and let me know afterwards if you go away and do this session how you found it, and if there's any other exercises that you'd like to add in next time or some that you found really hard. You can do all of that in the comments section below, and give us a like and a follow on our social media channels.